Have you ever thought about podcasting with your boo?
Your main squeeze, your boo-boo, your poochies, your gordito rico.
Your mom, your dad, your gram, your grandpa, your BFF, your best bro, your schnookums? Well, in this video, we're going to tell you why it's a great idea.
And we're going to share with you some best practices.
And if you stick around until the end of the video, we're going to get real and share some drama. Veronica and I, back and forth, we're going to talk about the struggles we have podcasting together.
Podcasting with your boo. Hello and welcome to the Pod Sound School. We're podcast and video coaches and producers. I'm Veronica and here is Studio Steve with me. And for those of you who've been watching our videos and maybe wondering if Studio Steve and I are an item, yes.
We're a hot item.
Yeah, I don't know if we're a hot item, but we're an item.
We are. And so we know firsthand the struggles of podcasting with your boo-boo, with your schnookums.
Yeah, and as you can see, we're here in our home, in our patio, in our porch.
We wanted to bring you on a date with us and take you out on our enclosed porch with the birds chirping in the background. And as it happens, the construction workers working at our neighbor's house. So
this is going to be a different format. We usually do different videos, but with that, we will do something like this, more relaxed.
And we're going to cover 3 things in this video. The first thing we're going to talk about is why podcasting with your significant other or your best friend is a really good idea. Then we're going to talk about the best practices, things you really want to implement. And then we'll finish up the video, like I mentioned earlier, getting real.
Yeah, getting
sharing
real.
Some drama.
Because sometimes we don't share what goes behind the scenes, and we're going to share with you some of the struggles that we have as business partners and as a couple. Hopefully, so you can learn from our mistakes and our experiences.
Really, that third part is the cons. So let's go ahead and start with the pros. Let's start with number 1. The reason that podcasting with your boo-boo is a really good idea.
So the first thing is that you will bring more skills to the table. When you're a solo podcaster, you have to do everything on your own, and the things that you don't know, you have to learn. But if you are coming to the table with different skills, your significant other maybe has a different background, professional background, and you have a different professional background, you can bring those skills to the table and really advance and move forward faster.
Yeah, so in our case, Veronica is an exceptional writer. She was a lawyer, worked in corporate law before we started this venture together. So she brings all those skills to the table. And then of course, I'm an audio engineer, so I was able to bring my sound mixing and all that stuff into the Pod Sound School as well. Also, I do a lot of talking and a lot of thinking and scheming, and I don't really ever take any action.
Yeah, he's a dreamer, and I'm more tactical and practical and putting things on paper and planning and all that. So we balance each other out a lot.
If you're a dreamer and a doer,
find a type A if you're go.
Okay, and the other reason that it's good is if you happen to be in the same location or close by. And this is usually the case with our significant other or even our best friend who lives just right down the street. This can be a huge benefit because scheduling and actually getting together to record your podcast episodes is a lot easier. You can squeeze it in when it's convenient for you. And that just becomes a big reason that it's a good idea to podcast with your boo-boo.
Yeah, not to mention that if the other person has a family and it has more things on their schedules and conflicting schedules with your schedule, that can be detriment too for your production.
And then finally, the reason it's a really good idea is because you can achieve your goals a lot faster. So if you've been with your schnookums for a while, or you've had this best friend, or if it's your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad, you have had a long time together to hopefully learn how to communicate and sort of get over some of the struggles that you've had in your relationship. So now you're kind of ahead of the game that a lot of us getting into new business relationships with people we don't know. So you can bring that to the table and really achieve your goals a lot faster. And more importantly, you can divide up the tasks and the responsibilities that you have.
So you can delegate the different tasks that you have to do with podcasting. There's a lot of things you need to learn as a podcaster. You need to learn about social media. You need to learn about editing. So the more you can delegate those tasks, the better and the faster you will achieve your goals. Number 2, best practices.
The best practices. And really, we could put this all just into one best practice with a few subpoints, and that is to treat it like a business.
Okay, so it's so important to treat your podcast like a business and to set boundaries from the beginning. Even though you will be podcasting with your significant other or your family member, and that allows more flexibility, you have to take this project seriously. And from the beginning of the relationship, make sure that you divide roles, that you set schedules, that you set times to sit down and have meetings and plan ahead and set up all of the expectations and goals that you want to achieve together for the podcast.
Yeah, I love that. And I especially love it even if you're going to just start podcasting as a hobby. So let's say maybe you had this idea to start a podcast with your best friend or your boo-boo because you want to bring your relationship closer together, have a nice hobby that you can do together, something besides maybe getting drunk on the weekends or spending time watching Netflix together. So you decide to start a podcast talking about your favorite Netflix shows. And that's totally cool, even if you have no other aspirations than that, but still treating it like a business. And what Veronica said, starting with some expectations, setting expectations and dividing those roles. Okay, I am going to learn how to do social media management. I'm going to take a course and learn how to do that, how to market, promote. You learn how to do the podcast editing, the podcast production, the graphic design, and maybe you need to take a course for that. But we both need to be working evenly and putting the same amount of work together and take that seriously, set those expectations.
And there's a lot of people that start podcasting just for the fun of it or to have a hobby. But we've seen a lot of those people turning their podcast into something bigger and to something that is going to help them to get into entrepreneurship, who's going to help them to quit their 9-to-5. So it's very important to think big and start doing those and best practices from the beginning.
Yeah, and that sums up our first 2 points, why it's really worth it, and it really is. And especially lately with the pandemic and everything else, a lot of couples have moved to starting a business together, to quitting their 9-to-5s and joining forces together to actually start a company or build something together to support themselves. And so podcasting can be a really good precursor to that, and it really is one and the same thing. And if you learn how to podcast together, it will really help you to have a business together. Also, having a podcast can be the thing that helps you to grow your podcast into a brand and sort of build your business from that standpoint. So really, you should just try it.
Yeah, try it.
And so now the moment you've been waiting for, number 3.
Number 3, things to be aware of.
The drama.
The drama.
Moment you've been waiting for.
Something that I would recommend and that has worked for us is to have a solid schedule that divides not only the podcast tasks, but also the family tasks, the day-to-day tasks. Because something that we were encounter a lot of issues with was the mess and the day-to-day tasks that we needed to get done with the family, with the business, with the podcast, and all of the things. And if you don't have those tasks organized, that can become a big mumble jumble that you won't be able to control, and also would create some resentments.
Yeah, and another good practice here, something to be aware of, is to really separate your podcast and your personal relationships. So this is something we've struggled a lot with too, but from the very beginning, Veronica was really good about it when I would have my little hissy fits, you could call them. And we'll get into that, more of that drama in a second. But she was good at saying, okay, we have an audience. We have people that listen to our show. This is a business. This is serious. So we have to put our own personal issues, our own secret resentments, or not so secret resentments aside, so that we can actually get our podcast done, so that we can get these videos made. But later we do need to have a meeting and address those underlying issues or tension that's going on between us.
Yeah. Also make sure that you do the things that make you happy individually, that you take care of yourself, because that's one of the things that would impede in your productivity is if the older person or yourself just show up with a bad attitude, with feeling a little down or negative. So make sure that you do those things that make you happy, that you meditate in the mornings, that you do your workout, that you do your morning walk, all of those things that would put you in the mood to create great things with your partner.
And another tip along those same lines is to not be afraid to take a break, not take yourself so seriously that adds to any stress you might be having. Recording a podcast would be really stressful. Hitting the record button, live streaming, making videos, all of that stuff, going live on IG stories, all that stuff can be really stressful. So it's okay to say, hey, I need to take a breath. Let's calm down, go on a walk, chill, go take your time, come back, and then we'll start at this again.
Yeah. And as far as when you are recording, just make sure that you leave the drama out of your studio, and that when you sit down with your open heart and you are willing to deliver your best performance for your audience, like you said. Also make sure that you are not rude to your co-host, that you let him be, that you let him talk. This is something that I have to learn a lot, that a lot of people brought to my attention, is that I don't let Studio Steve talk, which is like, he talks more than me. But I guess like when we're in public, I get nervous and I just don't let him talk.
Or in our videos, and how I respond to that is, if she didn't interrupt me, I would never stop talking. So yeah, and that is one of our best tips that we give to our students and our clients all the time. It's not really even a tip, as it is something you sort of learn as you go along the podcasting journey, is that it starts as wanting to talk, and it progresses into learning how to listen. And the more that you can listen, the more that you can open yourself to change and to being willing to change, and allowing your co-host or your boo-boo or your schnookums to talk more, the faster that your podcast will grow, the faster that it will resonate with more people, and the easier that you'll be able to build a community and build an audience and really go places with your podcast and with your relationship, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So let's not finish off without at least giving them a little chisme. All right?
Yeah, a little chisme.
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question then. What is the worst part about working with me, about podcasting?
Well, something that drives me absolutely bananas, and I find that expression funny, makes me laugh when I say it, but bananas, is that the organization part, like how Steven's brain work. So he's very disorganized. We have a lot of equipment, and he just doesn't have an organization system. And partly is because we've been moving from one location to the other. But even when we were in our old house, he just doesn't keep track of his things. And then he's just running up and down the stairs, trying to set things last minute for our lives or for our videos. And he can't find the thingy-majingy, the chingy-chiringy. And
sweating
I'm just
profusely.
Sitting there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to help him because I don't know where the thing is at. I don't know how the thing looks like. So that's one of the things.
And I think also the hissy fits that go along with that, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Because he gets very short-tempered, impulsive, and he just knocks things out.
Face rubbing.
Yeah, face rubbing.
And I make
sweat dripping.
I make comments that are
heavy breathing,
that are pretty rude. I think earlier when you said don't be rude to your co-host, I think that could have been at me too.
Yes.
Because I do get, there was something I used to say all the time was,
can you?
Not can you. It was
please.
No,
Yeah.
not please. It was
move that from there, please.
Are you able? Are you capable?
Oh, are you capable?
Are you capable of moving that over here? Oh,
I'm like
very condescending.
I think I am capable.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love all this a lot, and this brings me to why I think it's.
Oh, and then the other thing is how you are an eye person.
Oh.
So when I'm ready to go to sleep, he has the best ideas for videos, podcast episodes, for our business, for our students, for this and that. And he just starts his parade of thoughts that sometimes are very important and very useful. But at that point, I'm super tired. And something that we've been trying to do is to set boundaries. We're going to be talking about the business until 6. After that time, then we won't be talking about the business or the pod sounds or anything like that. But he keeps doing it. So that's that's something that I have found that I don't like about you, Boo Boo.
That's the struggle, is a night person and a morning person.
Yes, I'm a morning
trying to do
person.
this together is crazy. And it's really kind of funny because, and those are sort of my same frustrations too. But before I get to my frustrations with you, I just want to say that this, again, is one of my favorite things about podcasting in general, is even if you're a solo podcaster, I've said this before in other videos, it makes you face some of your demons. And the degree to which you're willing to face your demons is equal to the degree that your podcast will grow and reach more people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that willingness and that openness to be like, whoa, yeah, I am a jerk in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I don't know how to work with other people.
I don't know how to work with other people or all those things. And then
or
if you
I'm
look
extra
at
sensitive in my case.
and then even better than that, as in a relationship, podcasting with your significant other, it forces us to deal with things inside of our relationship that otherwise might just be swept under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually really cool because it forces us to become better listeners, to be more patient with each other, to let the other one have their space. And so overall, in order for us to continue to podcast together, to continue to make videos together, we have to continue to work on our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I love all this construction in the background. Are you done hammering?
Okay, now you go.
Okay.
What do you don't like about me? I'm such a sweetheart.
Okay. So it's the morning person thing is a huge frustration. And it's funny because it's equal. Because in the morning, I come down the stairs and I'm a zombie and I'm hateful and I'm resentful. And those aren't my children. I don't recognize them. I don't know how I got here.
Who am I? How did I get here?
I'm incapable of being grateful. Even though I have everything I could have ever wanted. I'm so lucky. But in that moment, I'm incapable of being grateful. And then Veronica comes around the corner and she's so like, and a million things, 1,000 things. Here, we're going to do all this. And I just want to, throw her out in the street and set her on fire. And I know that she has that same frustration, like she said with me at night. And then the other thing is just your overall like scatterbrainedness and like, and we'll be in the middle of something and then 6 other things have to get done. And so then, and I'm really sensitive to that. Like it's very easy. You could suggest that ADD on me really easy. So I go and do those things too. So, but honestly, I mean, I just couldn't do this with anybody else.
Yeah, me neither.
And
me neither. And it's been a true pleasure to work with you and to see you evolve and become what you're becoming, and also to discover all your talents. That's something that I didn't know until I started working with you, is just how freaking talented you are and how well you know your craft. Yeah,
likewise. And all of the talents that I had no idea you had as well, and how it's been really fun for us to allow the other to blossom in those ways and to seek new challenges. And we're pushing each other constantly out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Now we're on TikTok, which is something I never thought would happen.
Yeah.
And if our relationship can handle TikTok, it can handle anything.
Yeah.
So check us out on TikTok if you haven't yet.
Yeah. And sometimes like it's hard to get in front of the microphone. It's hard to get in front of the camera. And sometimes you know, your inner monologue is very negative. It's like your worst enemy. Sometimes I just made a video about that. And to have your significant other cheering you on and having your back and being like, you know, you got this, you can do this. Like there was this time that I woke up Steven and I'm like, somebody just sent me an email and they want to interview me on Fox News. And I didn't want to do it. And he was like, you got this. Like you know this. And even though I could see that he was nervous too, like because he gave me that reassurance, I went on it and I was on Fox News.
Yeah. And you killed it. And you had it. So
use your significant other, create things.
Yes.
Launch podcasts, launch YouTube channels, businesses, build businesses together.
Yeah, and build your relationship
Build your
together.
Relationship.
And celebrate your relationship. Your boo, your best friend, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your brother, your sister, whoever it is.
Your BFF.
Absolutely do it. We're better when we do it together. And we can create amazing things together, and collaboration is so much fun.
Yeah. And we always have that person in the back of our minds, like, oh, this person is so talented. I wish I could do something together. I wish we could do something together.
Start a podcast together. You'll be happy you did. And you always have us here to help answer any questions you have. We also love making videos for you here on YouTube. So if you have any ideas for videos or comments, drop them below. We will respond personally.
Also subscribe to our channel and like this video. We work with clients one-on-one, and we have also courses that will teach you about podcasting, editing, and podcasting on YouTube as well.
And although we would probably recommend not to podcast out in this construction zone that is our backyard right now, it's been really fun to bring you into our environment, to have this date with you, and to share with you some of the pros and cons of podcasting with your schnookums.
With your boo, your gordito lindo.
And until next time, mis amores, 2 things.
No olviden hacer la tarea and don't forget to subscribe and like this video.
Happy casting.
Happy casting, friends.